I fainted at an altitude of 10,000 meters. As the speed of descent accelerated, I woke up instantly. I tried to grab the cables of the hot air balloon, but it was too late, and I passed out again. When I opened my eyes, I found myself hanging at 10,000 meters high. The temperature was close to minus 40 degrees Celsius by then. I would freeze to death sooner or later. I shouted for help to my companion in the basket, but he had already fallen into a coma. I had to get back to the basket as soon as possible and open the exhaust valve to descend to survive. I kept swinging my legs, hoping to use inertia to swing over. Fortunately, after countless attempts, I finally grabbed the basket. I didn't have time to rest and hurried to pull the exhaust valve to descend, but the valve was frozen solid and wouldn't open at all. The only way was to climb up. I had to climb up little by little along the ropes and finally reached the side of the hot air balloon. But this was the hardest part to climb. One wrong move and I would fall off. I wanted to use the hanging rope nearby as a safety rope, but my hand couldn't reach it. By this time I had no strength left, and my consciousness gradually blurred. In a trance, I saw my companion, whose fate was unknown, and thus rekindled the will to live. I mustered all my strength to adjust my body, trying to grab the hanging rope nearby. I tied the safety rope around my waist, and with a burst of energy, successfully climbed to the top of the balloon. When I tried to open the valve with my arm, it didn't move at all. I thought of a way. I stood up and stomped hard. To prevent the valve from closing, I took out a dagger, cut the shoelace, and let the shoe get stuck in the valve. As the hot air balloon slowly descended, my companion gradually regained consciousness and woke up, but I noticed that the snowflakes, which had been falling, were hovering in mid-air. This meant the hot air balloon was descending faster than the snowflakes. We hurriedly pulled the rope to close the valve, but accidentally used too much force, opening the valve completely. Watching the descent speed getting faster and faster, we threw all our belongings down, but it was far from enough. We had to discard the heaviest part, the basket. So we climbed onto the iron ring and cut the basket ropes one by one. The ground was getting closer and closer, but the speed was still too fast. If this went on, we would all die. I planned to sacrifice myself and stood by the iron ring. My companion shouted to stop me because he had thought of a new method. He told me to cut the inner circle ropes one by one, so that the cloth would be pulled onto the outer net to form a parachute. With the breaking of the last rope, the hot air balloon instantly turned into a huge parachute, and the descent speed slowed down accordingly. We laughed heartily, but the landing spot was very unfavourable. The hot air balloon rushed rapidly towards a jungle. My companion was directly knocked down by tree branches. It wasn't until night fell that I woke